Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Amazon European Masters. We're about to round out Group A, and we have a little interview here with Knight from Aggro Rogue, who just took down Crvena Zvezda and now are tied for first place up against Vitality B. Welcome, Knight, to the broadcast, you beautiful man. How do you feel after that crucial one?
Hello, feeling pretty good, you know. Was a fun one.
Knight, I've known you from your days, back in Game Religion. At some point you talked to me, you were like, you know what, I was also playing Karine at some point, but I'm going to put this aside for now. And honestly, I remember like back in the day together with Rubble, you guys would pull out all the crazy stuff, of course, with the bot lane as well. Do you think you get the same freedom in this team as well? Because Iron mid?
I mean, yeah, you might not expect the crazy picks or whatever you want to call it from an academy team, right? But our coach Bloomington is really open to whatever wins us the game. And yeah, we've prepared quite some fun stuff in scrims. So yeah, hope we can show you some more pocket picks.
So now you're obviously the representative for Ultraliga, the last remaining representative of Ultraliga. Last time the Ultraliga saw success was with the same team. It was a Go Rogue 2020 summer that won the Amazon European Masters back then. I want you to tell me, who do you think, of course, going forward to the quarterfinals, who do you think is your biggest competitor?
I think, speaking from scrims, the best teams in the tournament are ADC and X7. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, yeah. ADC and X7 are for sure the best teams, I would say.
Yeah, you know what? I might agree with you right here, Knight. Thank you very much.
Knight, I want to know something here, right? Because how do you feel going up against Vitality B? That will obviously be the match of the day, really. If you win, you lock first place. If you lose, you get second. How confident are you going into that matchup?
I mean, you know, when we last played Vitality B, we kind of only had like 1 day of scrims with our substitute Binsu. And now we got some scrims in. Scrims have been going really well, actually, and we've been really productive. And yeah, I'm about as confident as you can be, I guess. Also, I hope they're at least a little bit scared of the Rengar-Ivan combo, you know. Might hit them with that, we will see.
Okay, that actually leads me perfectly into the last question. Could we expect to see anything crazy for that matchup? Have you anything special prepared?
I mean, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I hope they have a little emergency meeting and go over draft again.
I'm excited. You just hyped that matchup up 10-fold more. Thank you so much and congratulations on your victory. Best of luck in getting prepared for the next matchup, and we'll see you again soon.
Yep, thank you. Bye-bye.
And now it's just back to you and me, Trouble. Wow, I am so excited. But let's take a look at those highlights, because some of those are very exciting as well.
Yeah, and he says, you know what, you might not expect all these crazy picks from an academy team, but mate, I've watched you in Game Religion together with Rumble and all the stuff you came up with, you know. These guys are crazy, and they've got a bunch of things, like the Champion Ocean is a thing that actually counts for Knight, because he's playing so many different styles of champions. But then again, jumping back into this game, I felt like a Go Rogue's plan right here was scaling. A lot of the times you'll see teams say, if we are the better team, we'll just scale into the late game and just win in team fights. And honestly, there was just nothing Crvena Zvezda could do. If they couldn't make a pick really early on with Tsiperakos on LeBlanc and Golden Toast onto the Zarya, you see that now Rubble dives into 5 people and they barely have any damage to take him down. And by the time they take him down, they've used all of the cooldowns, all of their summers, and then the other hyper carry later on, Sinmivak onto the Gwen, just takes completely over the team fight. And not only that, but he also gets his very well-deserved pentakill.
I guess the pentakill shows the splice emote, so you just said it perfectly. I can't say it better myself, but like, look at Rebel. Yet again, he just goes into 5 people, he doesn't die, they're all full HP. It was very hard to play against the comp, especially when you're burst comp, and when you can't burst someone out, what are you really gonna do, right? And Crvena Zvezda now have 1 more game left. I'm excited to see if they mix something up, as they're going up against Eintracht Spandau. So let's hope they learn something from this game, and maybe they could be able to pick up 1 win before they hit home. And
I hope that at least the game we're going to see next is going to be a crazy one. I'd like to see, you know, everyone on comfort or everyone in a champion that they really want to play. The game doesn't really matter much, unfortunately, for both teams. both Eintracht Spandau and Crvena Zvezda are no longer in the running for quarterfinals. So whatever result they end up having, it doesn't affect any of the other two teams or any of the other results later on for either a Go Rogue or Vitality B. So they can actually run crazy drafts and maybe we can possibly have some fun.
Yeah, I am. I'm super excited. I'm excited to see if they have anything hidden to bring out now. We saw ADC Rogue has some magic to sprinkle in the drafts. Hopefully, Crvena Zvezda have gotten some inspiration, maybe picking the Rengar Ivan themselves. That would be exciting. But let's take a look at the standings because you mentioned it. Eintracht Spandau and Crvena Zvezda are out of the runnings. And as you can see, Vitality B and ADC Rogue are at that 4-1. And they're going to be fighting for first later today.
Exactly, as you said, this is our last game of the day right after the one we're going to have right now. So make sure you stay tuned for that one because Vitality B and Go Rogue are going to be playing against each other for that #1 seed. Remember, Bifrost, LDLC, and Carmine Corp are waiting as the first seeds. So you definitely do not want to be facing these guys. You usually want to play versus the second seed in your first round of quarterfinals. And yeah, Vitality B also is going to be the third LFL team to qualify into the quarterfinals. So you definitely don't want to be paired up with another LFL team moving forward. So you want the second seed. And as you can see, here are all of our standings as well.
Yeah, BDS Academy, you mentioned it. 3 out of 4 teams will be going through from the LFL. BDS Academy, the only one to not make it through. You mentioned Bifrost as well. Made it into first seed. Very impressive, honestly, considering that they only managed to get second in that play-ins group going up against the Unicorns of Love 6 edition. So they have certainly improved in being able to beat out Fnatic Kesso and also BDS Academy twice. And it must feel bad for BDS Academy not making it through as the only LFL representatives to fail to do so.
And also you can see a lot of recurring effects, right? We have 3 LFL seeds going through, we have 2 NLC seeds going through, and then it's 1 Ultra Liga, 1 Super Liga, and 1 Prime League. A quick reminder, of course, the last 2 finals that we've had at Amazon European Masters 2021 Spring had been NLC versus LFL. 2021 Summer was LFL again versus the NOC, and these 2 regions seem to be so prominent when it comes to coming out the quarterfinal, when it comes to coming out of groups, when it comes to EU Masters in general. Again, 3 LFL seeds, 2 NOC seeds. Can the other 3 regions, Ultra Liga, Super Liga, and Prime League, make the upset in the quarterfinals with only 1 seed remaining?
Yeah, and I think both the LVP and Ultra Liga are the 2 leagues that have been the most interesting for me because they haven't been that great. They both lost teams in the play-ins. They both have lost teams here in the group stage as well. While Prime League, they at least managed to get all 3 seeds in to the group stage. Their first and second seed just didn't perform, and Unicorns of Love 6 edition, they flipped the whole standings in terms of their representatives being the 3rd seed, the only one to make it out from the Prime League.
Absolutely, and that's also a team that's coming for planes, right? We have a lot of teams coming from planes to even go into champions. Fnatic Rising made a whole run in the latest Amazon European Masters from planes all the way to the grand finals to face, of course, Carmine Corp and lose them. But you can see how much it affects teams when they come through these planes and they actually have this first bit of practice. I think Unicorns of Love 6 editions have looked the best out of any Prime League team that has come into the tournament.
Yeah, and let's take a look at how the teams are lining up for this game. This is both of the last games of the Amazon European Masters. Eintracht Spandau against Crvena Zvezda, both heading home after this one. So hopefully they put on a good show for us. Pride, Obsess, Special, Kynetic, and Prime. An interesting roster when you really look at it. One that managed to actually beat Game Team 3-0 in the upper bracket final, but they failed to do anything ever since then.
Yeah, and you see a lot of veterans as well, like Pride, Obsess, and Special have been in the scene for a long, long time. And of course, Crvena Zvezda coming in with their own veterans. TasteLess has been in the scene forever. He's played in the Click of Dreams from back then as well, and he has been a leader for any team that he has joined. And of course, together with Colamax stepping in from coach into the jungle position. I just really hope that we can see a really fun game. I just want to I just want to see the players kind of let loose, because this, again, does not mean anything for the standings. It doesn't mean anything for these particular teams in the standings. And it also doesn't affect the other 2 teams that are fighting for the first seed. So it's pretty much a free-for-all.
It could be a brawl, and I'm hoping that we get one of those games. Regardless, the one I'm really looking forward to from Crvena Zvezda is Tsiperakos, a young Greek player. So obviously someone you're looking after as well, that Trouble, but I think he has been very exciting. The last game, he had some good moments hitting all the chains, but obviously that burst just wasn't enough to cut through the front line of ADC Rogue.
Yeah, and I will honestly, since obviously I'm Greek, I do like seeing Greek players / teams do well into the competition. Team Phantasma didn't manage to make it through to the groups, and Tsiperakos also was Crvena Zvezda didn't either. But obviously, I just really hope we see him on something like that's very, you know, aggressive special plays of really mean LeBlanc as well, and maybe we can see them going head to head.
Yeah, and we were talking about the mid lane as the first champion to get removed of this draw phase is the Vega taking off the table. Eintracht Spandau doesn't want to play against it, and the Volibear is being removed by Crvena Zvezda, so they're targeting Obsess.
Yeah, and I'm expecting to see possibly like a Zeri ban or maybe even a Xayah ban, especially if you want to play a little bit aggressive and a dive comp. Xayah really does ruin that excitement with the R button that she has. She's very anti-dive. We've seen it open a lot because there's other things that have been prioritized, and with the Ahri ban, I'm expecting to potentially even see a LeBlanc ban in response.
Let's see if that does come out. The Ahri is certainly sad to see removed. Namara definitely sitting in chat, not happy with that one. He would have probably liked to see more games
He's
on
had
that
his
champion.
fair share, okay?
There has been a lot of Ahri, to be fair. He got a lot of them on Thursday as well, even with the book being purchased. And the LeBlanc, exactly as you said, extra trouble, now taken off the tape.
It makes sense because it's such a skill matchup as well, and of course, when you take the Ahri out, then the LeBlanc sort of runs free, and then you can only run neutralizing champions into it, which is kind of extremely annoying to play against, the Lissandra and whatnot. So taking out, I think, is the best choice, and of course, taking out the Lucian that can be played on the top side. Pride has played it before, but doing so, you allow the Zeri to come through, and there's a bunch of complementary picks next to the Zeri as well, such as like the Lulu or the Yuumi, that render her very dangerous to play against.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's something we saw a lot at the start of planes being locked in, and people didn't ban it. Then they realized it's actually very good, and then they started to ban it, but now they are going against that. Let's see what's Crvena Zvezda end up locking in here. They were hovering the Darius, but they go against, or towards something more standard rather, and they lock in the Jinx.
Yeah, and now you have a bunch of choice here. You can choose to either go with the Xin Zhao, you can choose to go towards the Lee Sin, you know, the more conventional junglers. Usually when a Jinx gets locked in that early, you see the Jinx Zhao being locked in together with her, just to provide a little bit more safety for the Jinx and trying to play the front to back, which could potentially be something that Crvena Zvezda will go to. Or Colamax can also choose to resort to the Trundle. It's not a bad pick on its own, but seeing the Zeri already locked in, where she can hop, skip and jump over walls and pillars, already gives me the impression that they might not want to play towards the bot side of the map.
Let's see if they fulfill that fantasy of playing towards the top side. It's something they did last game as well, so it really wouldn't surprise if they go towards that as now. Eintracht Spandau are looking to potentially lock in the junglers that has already been locked in from Crvena Zvezda. The Lillia, actually, something we've seen a little bit too quick lock-ins. The Jayce follows up as well.
Oh, I love that. We haven't seen the Lillia in like so freaking long, and I'm pretty sure in the latest patches he's received minor buffs as well. So really cool to see this champion again, I would like to say, because I'm not the biggest fan of farming junglers, and Lillia is like one of them. She belongs into the Needly Graves Udyr meta, where they just farm the jungle for literally God knows how long, and then they appeared 30-40 minutes later and pressed some buttons and the game was already over. But the Nautilus is gonna be locked in here together with Jinx. It's a really good pairing, especially when it's going up against Zeri. It's sort of like, into all of these slippery champions, you want to be able to have a point-click spell that will CC no matter what, and obviously Nautilus ultimate will follow you through anywhere. Now on the other side, we are of course targeting champions that can play really well into the Jayce. Ornn is one champion that does really well into Jayce, but also really other aggressive picks like the Camille's, the Irelias, that can all in you really quickly.
And while that is what Eintracht Spandau is focusing on, Crvena Zvezda looking to ban out Prime, as they ban both champions that he has played today, the set and that Renata Glask taken off the table.
And I'm wondering here, you could potentially go for something like a Na here on the top side of the map and allow the counter pick for your mid laner for Tsiperakos, because you see already top lane, you know it's going to be Pride, you know that his favorite champion, let's say, is the Jayce in the top of the map. So I wouldn't be very surprised if Wondro locks in his own champion here and then allows Tsiperakos to have counter pick onto special.
Now these hovers are very interesting, and they go with the Irelia. I'm excited for that. We've seen a bit of it this Amazon European Masters, but not a whole lot. Regardless though, it is now back to Eintracht Spandau as they look to complete their lineup.
And honestly, it could also be Tsiperakos until the Irelia. You can actually flex towards the mid lane as well. But Irelia, as we mentioned, together with Camille, are like one of the counters or like hard lanes for Jayce. And we mentioned how Colamax does like to play towards the top side of the map. So making sure you have counter pick both for your mid laner and your top lane is going to be extremely crucial.
The Alistar gets locked in. I was thinking Yuumi could have been a possible choice with the Zarya combo we've seen a lot, but no. Prime doesn't want to default to the Enchanter and just simply be pressing E. He wants to go in with the combo himself, as now it's all up to Pride. What does he want to go? The answer is the Renekton.
And that is sort of making things a little bit topside heavy, because you have Jayce and you have the Renekton, you have AP jungler, which means you can very easily dive topside of the map, but you can also play for mid because you have the perfect composition right there. You have the perfect combo of AP and AD. And also Renekton is one of these champions that you usually want to put into the top lane and then create easy dives with if you have an AP jungler. And right here, Crvena Zvezda is going to reply with the Akali. Again, Wondro could be on Akali or the Irelia, and so can Tsiperakos swap between the two champions. But you definitely want to have the Irelia going up against the Jayce and potentially the Akali into the Renekton.
I mean, it is not the complete spice that we were talking about, Trouble, but it is certainly a bit more untraditional
It's spicier
than what we've seen today. It's spicier, that's the right way to put it, actually. As the Akali is something I'm very excited for Wondro to play. He has played a couple of carries, but obviously none of them haven't really worked out. The Irelia, certainly another carry, and Tsiperakos, I think he had a great game considering how badly they were losing in terms of the draft. So I'm excited to see him on this Irelia. Akali.
I mean, they swapped them around about 3 times. I don't blame you for
Confusion.
for not knowing which one they're gonna end up with. But yeah, honestly, even if we see a lane swap, I wouldn't be surprised. But at this point, they are keeping the Irelia into the Renekton top side of the map. Now, of course, this can get very dangerous. Renekton is one of these champions that is notoriously known for wanting to die very early on. The slice and dice is a very easy point-click CC, and together with Lillia having a bunch of AP damage, all of this mix of damage into a squishy target as an Irelia or an Akali can really do a lot of work.
I'm certainly excited for this game. I hope we will see some fiestas, or at the very least some actions, as Eintracht Spandau look to head home with their heads held high. The same goes for Crvena Zvezda, who still are yet to pick up their first win. Crvena Zvezda 0-5 at the moment. Eintracht Spandau actually haven't performed that badly, being 2-3, potentially ending up on 3-3 after this game.
Yeah, it's definitely not a relief, I would say, but at least you know you were able to pick up some victories. I think the only issue for Eintracht Spandau is that they lost back-to-back to a Go Rogue. So even if they did manage to reach them in terms of victories, the head-to-head goes, unfortunately for them, to a Go Rogue. But right now, again, this game doesn't mean anything for the standings. It's pure fun. And I just hope that we can just get into the Rift and have just that fun. There's like a bunch of assassins poking around. There's like a Renekton, who is, again, notoriously known for his early to mid game. We've got Akali's jumping in. We've got Irelia's. I think it's going to be very fun.
Yeah, we have early game champions, as you said. We could be in for a whole lot of action here, and that's what I'm hoping for. I want to see the players show everything they have got in terms of individual micro plays as well. I would love to see some exciting outplays, some solo kills here and there, some 2v2 fights, some 3v3 skirmishing up in the top side as well. I am hoping for a bang of a game, Trouble, that certainly entertains. That's my expectation, or my hope at the very least.
And everyone's expectations indeed. Again, to reiterate, of course, Go Rogue and Vitality B have made it through to the quarterfinals. They are both 4-1 in the standings. And right after this game that we're about to watch, they're going to be playing against each other to figure out which one takes first seed, which is going to be huge. Again, LDLC, Kamacorp, and Bifrost are waiting on the first seed. So if you're Vitality B, you definitely don't want to be facing another LFL team. So you are looking for that number 1 seed. Of course, previously Vitality B were able to pick up the victory against Go Rogue. So you would say that on the scale, the odds are a little bit leaning towards them. But of course, now we're just about to jump into Eintracht Spandau.
Not bad German, actually. Not bad German.
Hey, I did live in Germany for 6 years, okay? I did live in Germany for 6 years. So, Eintracht Spandau versus Crvena Zvezda. And it doesn't matter at all on the standings. They're not going to influence either first or second seed standings at all. It is just a pure joy of League of Legends. It is the last game for both of these teams.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, why haven't we headed into the game? Caster, start the game. Well, there are some technical issues.
Push the buttons. Where's the button?
I haven't pressed my P button, that's the thing. I haven't pressed the
no
play.
buttons.
That's my issue. Regardless, though, there are actually some technical issues that we really can't
no
resolve.
buttons to play,
that's all I've heard for now. I'll update you as we move on. But Trouble, I think you said something that was pretty good. It's kind of like an undercard match, right? You come in here, you get some excitement. Everything is going to be great, and then you have the big finale for the first place. But what I'm hearing now is that we will be throwing it into a short 2-minute break as we do resolve these technical issues. I'll try and find out where my play button is so we can start the game. In the meantime, enjoy the music. Welcome back, everyone, to the Amazon European Masters. I am just about to find the play button. It takes about a short while longer, but then I will be there. We can already start.
No. Can you stop just talking and just start the game?
I'm sorry. I'll look for it. It should be right here, but it's just gone. It's been taken. Probably my dog or something. Regardless, though, we should be heading into the game shortly. It has taken ages, but we should finally be there pretty soon. I don't want to cast it because I'm too scared to say anything because this could turn out so wrong.
This guy has lost the play button, so you can blame him.
Oh, I found it. I have already figured out. I changed my settings. My play button is now set instead. So we're starting on that round. Regardless, though, we are finally into the game. Eintracht Spandau look to head home with their heads held high as they could go 3-3, and Crvena Zvezda still just looking for that first win.
Yeah, and I think it's both a game of pride right here, if you will. Oh, it's an ARAM. Great. Let's go. It's a fiesta. Who
breaks it first, though? Oh. That is actually a very nice gentleman's agreement. Okay. I wouldn't expect this. Now, TasteLess goes back to his tower, hooks Pride under the turret, and then gets a first blood. Pretty simple, right? Maybe not? No, it's just the answer is the emotes. See, this is what Amazon European Masters is all about, right? It's having fun with people.
Why is no one BMing?
behind
Oh, there we go.
walls.
There we go. Okay. It was sad that no one was BMing, but Special, thankfully, did it.
Yeah, I hope he gets fined for that, though. It's unacceptable behavior. And a little cheeky ward gets caught out as well. So we're now actually into a game of League of Legends. Let's see how long they keep this craziness up for, if that was simply it. Or maybe they set a high tempo game. Regardless, though, the junglers, are they someone that could really set the high tempo and go for some early ganks?
If you're looking towards the side of Crvena Zvezda and Colamax onto that Trundle, it's definitely going to be a top side angle, right? You want to be playing towards the Renekton, try to get your Irelia ahead, or even go straight mid lane. We could see like maybe a cheeky level 3 in the mid lane. Tsiperakos is running the Ignite as well to try and get your Akali ahead. Also the Jayce, a very mobile champion. Once you put the pillar down, Special is most likely going to have to flash to get away from that. So we're keeping our eyes on that. And of course, Obsess, I think he wants to play towards the top side of the map just so he can make sure that he is covering for his top lane, and since Colamax is also pathing top.
Golden Toast on his most played champion of the split gets a good little trade here with the help of TasteLess. So the game has certainly slowed down as Tsiperakos, regardless though, just gets absolutely destroyed in this 1v1 against Special.
Yeah, and Colamax is going to take his wolves right here, but the wave is pushed, right? And that pink ward in the bush is going to stop any vision coming through from Eintracht Spandau, which means that Colamax can actually walk in, try to get a red buff, grab his level 3, and then maybe try to make his way towards the mid lane, where Special is actually pushing.
Let's see if he heads towards Special and gives him a little special gift. Tsiperakos is in a rough spot at the moment. The Akali so weak early after the nerfs as Wondro in this top lane, looking for a little fight against the Crocodile. Pretty brave move, regardless, it works out. And Tsiperakos maybe had enough of this rough laning phase as he decides to leave for a short second. That's maybe the technical issues we had earlier. Regardless though, Colamax did make his way into the mid lane, looked for the top lane instead, as Colamax now could get caught up by the bowling ball as Obsess does misses. TasteLess? Yeah, he's just run up into the mid lane about 3 minutes in. Interesting as he doesn't really manage to find anything, but he gives Tsiperakos some room to breathe and pick up a couple of CS.
Yeah, and that was a really well thought roam as well from TasteLess, but it was just a little bit too late because Special had already shoved in the mid lane and pushed into the river first. And if you look on the top side of the map, Pride also has a bunch of priority, so he would be able to walk into the river. So Colamax leaves that and goes straight back into the jungle, but there's a lot of time wasted right here because Obsess can actually push that together with Pride, and they can even try to pull in something like a dive because Colamax is overextended.
Yeah, just gonna dive Colamax level 3. That is not what I expected from this game. Regardless though, they do it, and now he gets the chance to recall under his turret, but he gets stopped by the Swirl Seed, and that means no recall for him. A rotation is coming up from Prime as TasteLess is back in the mid lane, might be wanting to go for something here, but Kynetic has made his way up into this as well.
Look at the top side.
Has every member towards the top side, and they're going for Colamax. The first blood is secured. Wondro could look to trade back with the flash. The Blade Surge gets some mana in return as well. Might look for Pride. Could dash around with the Blade Surge when it comes up in 3 seconds, but needs to wait for the cooldown. It's not as easy as it seems, as Pride could lock him up with one more auto attack, and he will give the kill to himself.
But that is so problematic right now for Colamax because whilst all this was going on, when he actually moved away from the Scuttlecrab on the top side of the map, he didn't actually go towards his wraiths. He didn't go towards his golems. He tried to go to try and shadow Obsess. They're gonna try to actually maybe dive Kynetic, but it's not gonna work because Obsess is there and he's popped his Predator. So the problem is right now that Colamax has fallen far behind. If you look at the difference in CS when the ball comes back up, you will see the difference between Obsess and Colamax as well. Level 5 for Obsess, level 4. Thank you very much, observers. 12 CS difference. That is 3 whole camps that Colamax has fallen behind and he has to catch up with. But if you look on the other side, his camps are going to be level 1. And Wondro is going to get solo balled by Pride's Renekton back to the junglers. The entire top set for Colamax is going to be level 1. I'm not going to speak anymore.
2v2 in the bot lane as well. The action is certainly happening now. TasteLess gets a turn back or around on towards him, and No one dies. They're in trouble, but the top lane, Pride just slapped down Wondro.
I'm really scared to open my mouth because another fight is gonna break out while I'm trying to say something that I feel like is useful. Obviously, I'm joking. It's quite huge. What's happening in the top lane for Pride? He already has his whip.
He's 3-0.
Exactly, he's 3-0. He's about 10 CS up after this wave as well, which means that he's gonna reach level 6. He's level 6 right now to level 5 from Wondro. He has his flash available as well, which means the potential for a tower dive is available. And Lillia is up there. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, with the insect, but Prime now gets turned back on towards him as
Look at
Golden
top
Toast
side.
with the snap. Oh, no, don't do this. It's just too rude. Wondro gets CC'd under the turret and instantly taken down by Pride. Don't show Ellis this. The Crocodile is working out.
Yep, and Special is already topside as well. Pushes wave in the mid lane, and now goodbye, Colamax.
5-0.
I just want to reiterate,
6 minutes in.
the top side of Colamax's jungle is still level 1. Has not been cleared once.
Wow.
Lillia has double cleared the entire jungle, whilst Colamax is still stuck on level 1 jungle. And honestly, I wasn't expecting for Special to go there and reset the race. He won't. Okay. He will not reset the race, which is really huge. Still level 1.
Kynetic going for another fight. A lot of kills on the top side, but in the bot lane, they might finally be able to get something. Kynetic picks up one, but it could be taken down here by Colamax, who might finally be able to get something back for himself. But no, he's put to sleep. And Obsess takes down Golden Toast. Wondro, what are you doing here? You should be in your top lane. No, he's in Tsiperakos up there. And now he's trying to get something back, getting himself back into the game. But he's just gonna die as well, isn't he? As Obsess is running circles around, and that's a fair. Spampy slapped down with the watch out E. Goes wide. Wondro tries to look like a Chinese Irelia player, but there's no way you win this one. You just get slammed down.
That is absolute disaster for Crvena Zvezda. 9-1 in the scoreline right now. 4,000 gold in deficit from the Balkan representatives. And that's a 5-0 Crocodile up in the top level for Kynetic right here. Jumps through the wall and tries to go for Golden Toast. There are no summoners onto Kynetic, and TasteLess does get the root right there, but he doesn't have any more mana for any shield or the slow onto Kynetic, and Golden Toast can't quite reach because he had to use his flash defensively, and also Obsess is right there in time, and once his sleep goes down, Colamax can't reach either. That's a level 5 Trundle, and even when Wondro comes in, it's just really easy for Prime to just bonk him away and allow his Zeri to back into safety. Special yet again with a really quick roam. He has been everywhere with the Jayce. He's going to cash in on that kill as well.
Yeah, sure. But we talked about the one and some action, but this was not what I was expecting. Let me be completely honest. I was expecting some kills, but not this giant goal lead. It's, as you said, a bit more than 4K at the moment. 5-0 on Pride. Just look at that goal difference between the two top laners.
Yeah, it's almost 2,000, hovering around 2,000 gold, and especially when the star platings go down on the top side of the map, it's going to be even bigger. You see again, Obsess is hovering towards the top side of the map. There will not be a flash on Irelia for a couple more seconds. I don't know if they have the timer right because it's just about to pop up.
Oh,
Obsess
no,
and Special have bundled up again. Wondro.
Yeah, this could look like a replay. It's the third time it's happened. This time, though, it gets given over to Obsess, so he gets a kill on the board as well and continues to grow his giant goal lead over Colamax.
Yep, it's going to be another turret plating. Going to the Renekton, it's going to be the Rift Hold. Started up for Eintracht Spandau, and honestly right here it's just so worth the time investment because you are far ahead. You're going to shove even more gold into the Renekton's pocket right here, who's already 1 level up on the Irelia, 2 levels up onto the Trundle and the Jinx. So once you transition that into an item and a half or 2 items onto the Renekton, and then you take that Renekton and you fight every single next dragon that comes up, Crvena Zvezda are going to find it extremely difficult to fight into him because you've got 4 melee champions and 1 Jinx. Renekton will be more than happy into diving into these 4 melee champions and pressing Gold Drinker.
This game is a head scratcher. At the very least, the early game for Crvena Zvezda, I am struggling to find ways for them to come back into the game. Just theory crafting. I don't know if you have anything. Maybe a bot lane gank could help something.
I think at this point you're expecting to scale later on into the game, right? At some point, the Renekton falls off. You've got the point and click engage with TasteLess onto the Nautilus, and here it is.
Yeah, it's exactly what you're talking about, the point and click engage. Let's see, look, they have the damage for once, actually. The Subjugate comes out, it keeps Colamax pretty tanky, but Kynetic has popped the Lightning Crash. Might look to turn it back around, and here comes the race car badly. Good turnaround again, though, from the side of Crvena Zvezda. It's a back and forth as they pick up 1 kill for themselves, finally. Make it 2, actually, but can Obsess clean this up? He puts 2 to sleep, gets taken down. 3 kills for Crvena Zvezda.
That is a 3-0. I think there must have been some miscommunication from the side of Eintracht Spandau because the sleep didn't come through. I'm not sure if Obsess did have the cooldown right there. Prime does not block the Super Mega Death Rocket, and Kynetic ends up going down. And it's a little bit disastrous for the side of Eintracht Spandau. As you can see again, TasteLess level 6. He will grip the Alistar but put the ultimate onto Kynetic, which makes Kynetic dash backward defensively, and then they start chasing them. Lillia will come through, does have the sleep up and available. You'll see Kynetic will get hooked once again, and Prime just wasn't quick enough with his flash battle to try and block the Super Mega Death Rocket. Kynetic was a little bit too deep into this, and by the time the sleep comes down, Lillia is already dead. Back to topside, boys. 5-0 Renekton, play topside.
It's just rinse and repeat for Eintracht Spandau if they want more kills. And Wondro isn't worth that much. That's one thing we have to realize. But Golden Toast managed to pick up 1 kill down in between those 3 kills that they managed to get overall. And most importantly for him, yes, it would have been nice to get 3, but the one he managed to get was the shutdown on Obsess. And you said in trouble, run back to the top lane, but we'll also keep our eyes on the bot as they CC up both Kynetic and Prime. One more auto should do it, but he kites around with the Lightning Crash, and there it comes. In the top lane, they of course succeed in getting the dive off as Golden Toast now will show slowly but surely sweat through Prime and get 2 kills. A good flash. There is no Death Rocket. TasteLess though with the Death Judge should seal it. Boom. Yeah, exactly. Boom.
Very, very, very well played by the side of Crvena Zvezda. Both support and AD carry just walked into the chompers right there and couldn't actually press any buttons for a while, which means that Golden Toast got a bunch of free damage onto them, especially now that he has the Kraken in his inventory. But the Rift Herald got put to good use. Took the entire mid lane tower as Pride was able to take the entire top tower on his own. That is 10 full tower platings plus first tower for both the solo laners of Eintracht Spandau. It's going to be a very fed and rich Jayce and Renekton. And now you can take these 2 very fed solo laners together with your Lillia and try to fight bot lane towards the dragons.
And Crvena Zvezda managed to get something back. We're happy for them in that regard, and they're getting it onto Golden Toast. It feels like it's a split map, really. Eintracht Spandau are winning everything they're doing. Everything goes Golden up on the top side. They're just getting kills, they're getting gold, they're getting turrets, they're getting the objectives. But down towards the bot side, Crvena Zvezda have gotten a single Drake, and we have just seen a couple of fights down towards that bot lane go over into the favor of Crvena Zvezda. So maybe they can play through that in the late game.
Yeah, but look at what's happening right now. You've got the Renekton that you fed. He's got 1.5 items plus the Executioner to cut down any healing that will come through the Irelia or the Trundle or the Akali. And you're taking that Renekton towards the bot side of the map to allow Kynetic to shove in the wave and then have free access for all these wards to go down on the bot side, and then you can follow up by going and starting to stack up these dragons to go potentially for the soul later on.
No, so the map has kind of switched Golden Toast now in the mid lane, as you said before. Tsiperakos down in the bot lane, someone we haven't seen that much this game, but maybe he scales into the team fights or starts getting some action. He has been struggling a bit in the lane, 30 CS down towards Special, who has just been poking him out every time he has gotten a chance.
And right here, I really like the lane assignments as well. Put Kynetic in a very short lane. You put him in the mid lane together with Prime. And then you put Pride towards the top side of the map. 14 minutes in. That means the teleports have been unleashed. That's a 6-0 Renekton that can actually TP into the bot lane fight at any point in time. And you definitely want to keep having that Renekton into the Irelia. The Irelia is 2 levels down. That means you can very easily bully if you want to. And Obsess is shadowing him the entire time.
And Pride back on the top lane, and anywhere he goes, the team follows, and he's just going to take down another turret. There is no contesting Wondro. We don't even want to get near it. He is staying away from even XP range, trying to catch up on something, but Colamax is able to take the Drake in return. And the Drake scaling keeps going for Crvena Zvezda.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Renekton now being swapped towards the bot side of the map, possibly, because he is the strongest member of the team at this point. He's gonna be very, very close to his second item as well. So you basically take this cannon that you've created and you take him around the entire map, taking every single outer tower. It's only 15 minutes, and Crvena Zvezda have already lost 3 towers, one of them being the tier 1 mid lane. You use your Renekton, you take him around the map. Because he's so strong, nobody can actually deal with him. If you look on the side of Crvena Zvezda, the only one who has an item completed is Golden Toast, who has 2 items in his name, 160 CS almost. So you definitely don't want to be putting the Jinx anywhere near the Renekton. So wherever the Renekton is, towers fall. The most towers that you have on the map right now for Crvena Zvezda is bot side of the map, and that's exactly where Pride is going to be heading.
Yeah, you said it. Pride is now in the bot lane, and Pride has also kind of slowed the game state down, it feels like. They've decided not to go for as many aggressive fires. Instead, they're just taking the objectives that they have found to be kind of free, let's be honest. They have managed to take down 4 turrets within 16 minutes, so Pride can simply do whatever he wants, wherever he goes. And now they look towards that Herald as well.
Absolutely, he is permanently 2 levels above his counterpart in the top lane, Wondro, and he's 1 level above Tsiperakos as well, which means that nobody can actually fight him 1v1 right now. You need to invest more than 1 or 2 or maybe 3 even people to chase away the Renekton, which is exactly what happened right there. They took Wondro, Tsiperakos and Colamax to fend off that very angry Crocodile, but I feel like what Eintracht is doing is so right here. You're using the power that you've shoved into that Renekton, you put him around the map, you chase people away, you take so many resources from the enemy team to fend off a Renekton, and then you take every objective on the other side of the map. And honestly, putting the time to take that second Rift Rail is going to be very much worth it, because in 3 minutes time you've got another dragon. You can potentially put that pressure down to the Renekton with the Herald, take a tier 2 in the bot lane, or even take the tier 2 mid, completely open the map for Eintracht by 20 minutes.
Eintracht are looking towards that bot lane here as Tsiperakos with the perfect execution. Simply used it to get away from Pride. When he saw the Crocodile, he ran as fast as he could, of course, which makes sense when he's 6-0. 18 minutes in, but Eintracht Spandau in control of the entire jungle. Yet another game where Colamax can't really be keeping up with CS. The Herald, as you said, someone in the bot lane. That means they will break up in that tier 2 as well. There is only the tier 2 in mid lane that is standing before they start opening up the base. As Crvena Zvezda has sent 4 members down. 5 actually, as Wondro is also making his way down here to just fend off the Herald.
Yeah, and you can see how very well Eintracht is also syncing their waves. They pushed mid and bot at the same time. Now that they have to put 2 members down the bot lane for Crvena Zvezda to fend off the Rift Herald, that means Eintracht have a pretty easy way towards the mid lane.
Yeah, it's a dredge line, but it's only onto Prime, and pretty quickly a few ultimates get thrown out from both sides, but no one really commits any further. Kynetic used the Lightning Crash, and Colamax simply just used the Subjugate.
Eintracht is playing a very, very, very clean game. They're playing macro, they're playing rotations right here. They're going to put special towards the top side of the map. They're pushing multiple waves around the map. They're spreading Crvena Zvezda thin. They know that their very fed member right now is going to be that Jinx. The other members cannot play versus the Jayce or the Renekton. You're going to have to put multiple resources and multiple members to try and push them off the lane, especially if it's going to be Pride onto the Renekton, who just completed his second item as well. It's just very difficult, and there's only 1 outer tower remaining for the side of Eintracht, and guess who is in that lane that remaining tower is? It's going to be that fed Renekton yet again.
Everywhere Pride goes, the turrets will soon follow as they fall down every time he shows up. It's a very nice play. You just said it perfectly, right? It's just cleanly played by Eintracht Spandau, but if we're looking at it from the side of Crvena Zvezda, trouble. What can they do? How do they win something? Do they look to try and assassinate Pride when no one is around him? Or what's the play here? How do they stop the bleeding?
I think at this point, you know that the Renekton at some point is going to fall off. But then Special is going to be a pain with all this poke. And your only silver lining is that you have Golden Toast onto the Jinx. If the Jinx survives potentially this dive. But no, this is going to be maybe Pride going down?
Yeah, they're looking for Pride. They might actually be able to get him, but in the backline, Tsiperakos comes through. They get the shutdown. They might just win the fight. Prime knocks up 4 Special, trying to do what he can of 3-man sleep. as it is now. Eintracht Spandau who looks to turn it back around, but Colamax, a Golden Toast rather, flashes forward, looks to pick them up, but Kynetic with the lightning crash staying alive, but now Tsiperakos might be able to take him down, but he flashes away the ignite, ticking and ticking, but not quite enough. The flank from Wondro with the Blade Surge should be able to take it. No, with the Vanguard's edge, instead the Blade Surge for the second, and Crvena Zvezda, they get the ace.
Exactly, we mentioned Golden Toast is your win position, your win condition if you're Crvena Zvezda. 4, 1, and 6. 2 items completed, Kraken and Phantom Dancer. And Eintracht Spandau, they get a little bit too greedy. They want to take that middle inhibitor tower, but somehow they still want a team fight, and they get caught in between two choices right there, whether they want a team fight or just take every single outer tower, and they end up getting picked up one by one. Golden Toast, the big winner out of this fight, almost has his third item available for him, whilst on the other side his counterpart Kynetic onto the Zeri is sitting on 1.5.
Trouble, we have a game on our hands. It's all of a sudden actually it's happening, and it was quicker than I expected. Let's take a look at it again.
Yeah,
Eyes
and
on
Pride,
Golden Toast.
And Pride beautifully is on the flank right there because he wants to be that nuisance, right? Golden Toast gonna walk forward if the Crocodile is there, but he gets caught up by the Chompers, the Irelia ultimate, the Dreadslime by the Nautilus. There's so much CC, and by the time Pride dies, yes, the tower goes down, but Eintracht still want to play the team fights, but they're being chased. There's a Nautilus there that's pinning everyone down, and honestly, it was very close. If Kynetic did have a second item right there, this could have potentially been another Zeri montage.
It was very close to, as he almost got it with the lightning crash, but Wondro went out at the start of the fight after he took down Pride, recalled, TP'd in on the flank, beautifully played to just close it out, and Crvena Zvezda back in the game. Eyes on Golden Toast really in these team fights. If he stays alive, they definitely have the damage to actually beat Eintracht Spandau.
And they do have the tools to keep him alive, right? They have pillars, they have the Nautilus, they have the Akali and the Irelia. The Irelia ultimate is such a great zoning tool as well because people cannot necessarily walk into it. So you've got so many tools to create space around that Jinx that Golden Toast could potentially carry this fight. If you look on the other side, every single member for Eintracht is squishy, including the Renekton. It's a bunch of AD items that he has on him. He's not a full tank. The only one who's a full tank and is going to have extra survivability due to his ultimate is going to be Prime onto that Alistar. The rest of them are extremely squishy. So if one reset comes through and Jinx does get excited, Golden Toast could potentially carry an entire team fight.
Colamax gets CC'd up, gets put to sleep. Could get taken down, but man, he is fast. Obsess though will take him in the end. Eyes on Golden Toast, as we said before, the Vanguard's edge completely whiffs from Wondro, and that means the fight is over.
Yeah, and this is where the problems start, right? This is why Eintracht spent so much time and invested so much money onto Pride to take every single outer tower pre-20 minutes in this game. Taking every single outer tower means that every time Crvena Zvezda will walk out of their base, they will be in potential trouble to get flanked or taken out by Eintracht since they don't have a lot of vision. That is going to be a pick onto Crvena Zvezda's jungler and a very easy Baron for Eintracht. Now they have 3 lanes, they have 2 very strong solo laners, and if they want to, they can even 1-3-1 them out.
Crvena Zvezda though, with Colamax down, will lose the Baron, and it goes over to Eintracht Spandau. How do they use this Baron best? Is it to break open the base, and where would they want to do that? Because obviously they've taken a lot of turrets already.
Yeah, and exactly. It's what we mentioned, right? Right now, you can even choose the 1-3-1 if you want to. You've got all the vision in the world. Every single outer tower is down for Crvena Zvezda. So all they can do is push a little bit into their jungle. Maybe if they have vision, you see how dangerous it is for Colamax also right there to go and just get his Gromp. But at this point, you literally just make them suffer. You literally deprive them of any resources. You take the entire jungle, you push every single tower, you try to sink them in. They haven't synced them yet because Pride is now pushing his own man on the bot side of the map. And you can either choose to 1-3-1 with 2 very strong solo laners, the likes of Jayce and Renekton, or you can choose to group up Jayce together with the other 3-man core that you have and allow Pride on the side lane.
Pride though, at the moment has his whole company with him, and he's got both Prime, Obsess, and Special in the back line. That can just throw out some large shock waves, or shock blast rather, as Kynetic looks to take down that mid lane turret. They're splitting them up with the 4-1. As TasteLess misses the dredge line. When is the go button here from Crvena Zvezda? When do they look to go?
I think you have to make sure that you engage here when the two waves are not synced up, but right now they're not synced up. So if you get the Dreads line,
They're just onto Pride as they wanted to do before. Now though he goes golden this time, but he still gets taken down actually. Especially now, the target he gets taken out with the pillar. Prime sees it up as well. It is actually beautifully played. He gets another 4-man CC. It's just simply not enough. Crvena Zvezda picking up 2. Could be looking for 3. Obsess has to flash away. Special tries to send it back around, but Golden Toad with the auto attacks. Taking down yet another as he looks for even more. The Zap connects, but a good bowling ball. Nice further engage. Kynetic with the lightning crash. Looks to turn it back around as he hits the W on towards 1. The lightning crash still stacking, and then so is the damage. Golden Toad's the slow. Kynetic is still OP. He can take this over. Kynetic, can you do it? Oh, the Shuriken flame and the damage, but it's not quite there. Golden Toad has no mana. Kynetic gets 2. Could he look for 3? Could he look for 4? Wondro though misses the E, and now Kynetic is just able to take down 2 and stops Crvena Zvezda from getting more.
ooh, and that was such a messy fight, but I think Crvena Zvezda got away with the least damage they could possibly get. They only lost a mid lane inhibitor tower, and they were also able to cash in on 3 kills onto Eintracht Spandau. And again, Pride gets caught by the Nautilus hook right here and ends up dying without being able to pop Dominus, which means he doesn't get to give his team enough time to either do damage or possibly take an inhibitor tower. This was supposed to be the 1 and 4 push, right? You have 4 members on one side, Kynetic was in the middle taking that inhibitor tower, but by the time he takes the tower, his entire team is dead. Obsess tries to run away, they try to turn it over onto Wondro, who will back and TP back into the fight again. We get in flashbacks right here, and Kynetic with almost another Motage moment right here, pops the ultimate, starts kiting back and forth. Of course, the Chompers, Obsess is gonna step on them, unfortunately, because he didn't have vision into that bush. But you see how much damage that Zeri starts doing, especially when you're playing in an Infernal Rift, where the whole map is open and you can skip and jump around and hide behind walls. A mobile champion like Zeri can do a bunch of things in a fight.
This game trouble got so much more intense than I originally anticipated with the way the early game was going. But you mentioned it, even at the start of the game, slowly but surely the Renekton will fall off, and when you're getting items on your main carries, Crvena Zvezda doesn't really have a problem with the Crocodile.
Now he can die twice because he has purchased the Guardian Angel. So even if he gets caught, even if he dies, Pride will be able to provide his team with enough time to set around that team fight. Because remember, every time Pride dies, there's a bunch of things invested onto him. There's the Ignite, there's the Hook, there's the Nautilus ultimate, there's potentially Tsiperakos ultimate as well. There's a bunch of resources from the side of Crvena Zvezda just to take down the Renekton, which means that if this time Kynetic is there, because remember last fight, Kynetic was in the mid lane. If Kynetic is there and Pride is getting that much time for his team to turn around the fight, now with 3 items, that Zeri is going to pierce through the HP bars.
It feels like it's a battle of both 80 of 280 carries really. Who is able to dish out the damage? We saw what Kynetic could do just last fight, but we've also seen what Golden Toes could do with the research and just running each other down. So eyes on the AD carries and also a little bit eyes on Pride. Let's see if he gets caught out one more time.
I love how this is a mini game right now to see whether or not Pride is going to get caught out by a Nautilus Q. But again, nevertheless, of course, this is what we talked about at the very beginning, the fact that Crvena Zvezda has lost all of their outer towers very early on in the game. Them walking into their jungle is extremely deadly. 8,000 gold in the lead right now for Eintracht Spandau. They have all of their core items up and available. The Guardian Angel, the Hourglass for the Lillia as well. 3.5 items onto their Jayce. And now they're just patiently waiting, shoving in their waves really fast so they can move back into the top quadrant of Colamax's jungle, maybe trap, and then once they kill somebody, preferably Colamax, they can start the Baron again, rinse, repeat, and try to end the game.
Hello, Duck, in the little picture-in-picture. It's nice to see you. Hope you're having a good day as Colamax gets hit up by the big shock blast. You know, he's actually a pretty cool guy. He's one of my cousins, you know, deep down the family tree as he finally heads home for the day. Regardless, though,
is he a relative of yours?
Yeah, he's a relative deep in the family. Also a fan of the same team as I. We're pretty good friends. So yeah, it goes down into family times. Regardless, though, the Baron is back up trouble, and despite Crvena Zvezda doing well in the team fights, there's still actually a pretty decent amount of gold behind, about 8k.
Yeah, and now they have actually seen that the Baron has been started. No one is hitting that blue ward. which means that Crvena Zvezda do not have any intel on what's happening. But look at the waves. They're pinging them right now. Top wave, shoving in. Bot wave, shoving in. And Crvena Zvezda actually need to push these waves out. Hope for a Jinx still, it doesn't happen. And actually full fate yet another Baron buff. Now, Eintracht Spandau need to use this wisely. They have a wave in the top lane pushing, they have a wave in the bot lane pushing, they have an inhibitor that's open in the middle as well. Plus, they have all of the summoners up and available, and so do Crvena Zvezda on the other side. 1 minute into the clock, and both teams are sitting on 2 dragons as well. Now, what Eintracht can do here is actually use the Baron Dab buffed minions to try and shove in the waves, take complete control of now the bot quadrant of Colamax's jungle, which means that Crvena Zvezda will not be able to step forward to try and go for the soul point, and they'll have to forfeit the soul point towards Eintracht, which is not the worst right now, because allowing Eintracht to go for that soul point will also mean that a bunch of that Baron time is going to be taken off. And then Crvena Zvezda can actually maybe pull out a fight when the Baron buff has expired.
Crvena Zvezda though, at the moment just forced to clear the waves. They're doing exactly what you said. Trouble Eintracht Spandau pushing the bottom of the mid. The Drake spawning in 10 seconds, but let's see if they need it. It feels like the final fight could be upon us soon, as both carries, or all carries really in the game, are reaching their peaks. It feels like Pride level 17, a level above Wondro. Big frontline there with Prime as well, who has the unbreakable will, so they are able to survive for a while. But Pride with the pillar could get taken down, doesn't get hit by another dredge line. Prime goes in, a good 2-man E from Wondro, but asleep onto 3, but it is not onto Golden Toast, and he survives. But now Kynetic takes down Colamax. It is all on Golden Toast now to dish out the damage, but it's just not enough. Eintracht Spandau are running them down. Golden Toast is the only man standing. Pride will flash forward and take him down, as Eintracht Spandau will look to close out the game.
Yeah, and Crvena Zvezda were looking for that miraculous fight. They were looking for Golden Toast to carry yet one more so they can possibly get their first victory in this Amazon European Masters. It's not going to be the case, and Eintracht Spandau are going to take them down for their last game also of this group stage of the Amazon European Masters.
Yeah, Eintracht Spandau finishing 3-3 overall. Not too bad, all things considered, but sadly not enough to keep their hopes alive of getting into the quarterfinal. A good rock, I tell the people have to duke out for the top seed after this one. But Eintracht Spandau, it was a very clean early game, which then faded into a not as clean mid game, but they managed to get the win in the end.
We had a few whoopsies from Pride right here, but all in all, I think it was very clinical in the early game. They knew exactly the objective. They played it so clean, moved that Renekton, which was a cannon, from lane to lane to lane, took every outer tower pre-20 minutes. Crvena Zvezda couldn't even walk into their jungle, and honestly, I'm excited to see this team hopefully returning in the next Amazon European Masters. We're going to throw it though onto a very quick break, but stay tuned, because Vitality B are going to be facing a Go Rogue for a chance of that first seed. Vitality B do not want to be facing LFL teams in the quarterfinals, so stay tuned.
It's a banger. It's a banger.